Hello, I am just adding in Zita from the Trust, so bear with me. She should be joining us shortly. Hello?
Hi.
Hi Zita, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I love the in the background you have there.
Oh, thanks.
Very nice, festive. Welcome. So today is going to just be myself and Zita, so Laura can't make it. So yeah, we'll get cracking if that's okay.
Yeah, by all means. I can't actually see you, so I'm not sure. I'm sure others can, but
okay, it might pop up at some point, but yeah, if it's okay, we'll get going. I can see you fine. I can see.
perfect. And I can hear you.
Great, lovely. Okay, so thank you for joining us today, Zita. So just ourselves quickly. So I am Jordan. I'm the Maternity Voices Partnership Chair, representing Worthing and Princess Royal. Currently also St Richard's, whilst we're waiting to recruit a new member of the team. Would you like to introduce yourself, Zita?
Hi, I'm Zita, and I'm Veteran Midwife for Worthing and St Richard's Hospitals.
Lovely. Okay, so so Zita has joined us today to talk about Badger Notes, the system that has now been rolled out across all 4 sites at UHSussex, and is going to answer any questions. So if anyone has any questions that they want to put in the chat, then please do. But I have some questions here, so if you're happy to, we'll get started.
Yeah,
Great.
that's great.
So my first question is, what is Badger Notes?
So that's a really good question. And to kick off, I just realised that Badger Notes at Worthing Hospital has been live alongside BadgerNet for 6 months exactly today, to the date. So prior to BadgerNet and Badger Notes, we used to have paper notes to document our maternity care, which our pregnant and postnatal patients carried with themselves, and some of them were in the hospital. So for the past 6 months, we moved over and digitalized our documentation. And Badger Notes is the patient-facing app of BadgerNet. So there's a slight difference. BadgerNet is what we use to document our maternity care, and Badger Notes is either an app or a web-based interface that is used by moms and pregnant people to access their maternity record, to access their leaflets and pregnancy information.
Lovely. Okay, fab.
Yeah.
So yes, happy anniversary. Happy 6-month
Thanks.
anniversary. That time has flown by. I remember a point when it was all being promoted that it was going to be launched, because it was first in Princess Royal in Hayward and Royal Sussex County, wasn't it? So it was there first, and yeah.
Exactly. So they have been using the same system at Princess Royal and at Royal Sussex for almost 3 years now, since 2020, and because the 4 sites now merged and we are University Hospital Sussex, covering a much wider area, we joined so that our documentation is the same. That was one of the main reasons why we decided to ditch paper and move over to BadgerNet and Badger Notes.
Lovely. Well, thank you for that explanation. So the next question that I have, and you touched on some of these points before, but what is the system currently used for?
So, like I said, BadgerNet is our maternity system, and what it does is it holds all of the maternity documentation information. So, in the past, this might sound a little technical, but we had paper records, like I mentioned, that were the handheld records carried by the patients. In addition, we had hospital maternity records that were always stayed either at St Richard's or at Worthing. And on top of that, we had a digital system where we documented the main events, the summaries of the care and the delivery of the babies, and that's how we got their NHS numbers. So as you can imagine, it sometimes meant that finding the information was quite time-consuming for midwives and doctors and maternity staff. so with having everything in one place, it means that we can access care records in real time at an instant, and multiple people can access it as well at the same time, which is really beneficial, and it actually increases patient safety, because, for instance, if someone was having a home birth in the past and they had a midwife or even two midwives with them, and there were complications and the midwives were worried and maybe wanted to have a second opinion and phoned up the hospital to speak to a senior midwife, they needed to verbally relay the background and what is happening over the phone. Whereas now, if they phone up and say to the other health professional, doctor or senior midwife on the phone, can you have a look at the patient record? They can actually see what has been documented, how the labour is progressing, what the concerns are. And if we need to transfer into hospital, the whole team can be ready and they can review the patient documentation by the time we arrive, potentially in an ambulance. So it can be, it really increases safety for our mums and families.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, great. So I've actually just been notified by Dee, our communications midwife, that we have a guest joining us on the call. So I'm just going to accept this request to join.
Fab.
Hello. Sorry, bear with me. Okay, we'll carry on. They can't seem to join. I'll see if they request again. Okay, wonderful. So it sounds like it's improved how you can care for women and pregnant people in terms of safety. So it'd be interesting to hear. We've had some feedback from people that perhaps they would like some more information on there. So what are there any current plans to adapt what it is being used for?
Yes, absolutely. So we are always, striving to improve and get better at things. So at the moment, when a midwife or a doctor sees a patient and document their care in Bedroom Net, for that information to go through to the app, aka Better Notes, they need to authorize it, which means they need to put in their username and password, and then say yes to the question to publish it to Better Notes so that the patient can see the documentation. So one of our we took on board the feedback from our families that they would like to see more information, and we realised that one of the reasons why sometimes the information is not published, it doesn't go across to that, is because it's time consuming and it's quite fiddly to put in your username and password, which for security reasons obviously has to be a really long password, which is quite frustrating when you potentially mistype it. So what our plan is that from January we will switch on something called auto-publish, which means that the clinicians won't need to authorize documentation. It will be published to Better Notes automatically. So it will make it easier for information to go through from our system to the app. And we are hoping that this will increase the information shared with patients. Alongside the antenatal and postnatal documentation, the app is actually also really good to access patient information. So one of the major benefits of Better Notes is that there are multiple patient information leaflets, links to different websites, videos on there that patients can access. And because it's not on a piece of paper, it is easier to search. So if you go onto leaflets and then click on care location leaflets. You can search for certain words. You can see all of our patient information that can also be translated as long as it's on a web-based, you know, on a website. Then they can be translated to different languages, which hopefully will provide better access for our non-English speaking mums and families as well.
Oh, fantastic. So yeah, it sounds like there's improvements in the pipeline for providing more information, both of their pregnancy record, but as well as leaflets and things as well. So yeah.
And the actual developer of Badger Notes are also continuously improving their app. So they have plans to make it accessible in multiple languages. You can, at the moment, if you're using Badger Notes app, you can translate the app into different languages, but this is still kind of a beta version, so is still in a trial period. But the plans are there for next year to have it available in more languages and have a lot more areas of the app, you know, being able to translate it to different languages, not just the leaflets, but everything else as well.
Oh, that's really great. Fantastic. And we have been joined by Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Juliet. I'm a midwife at Brighton, and I'm also 20 weeks pregnant. So I'm using Vaginet on both sides at the moment.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
congratulations.
Pregnant midwife, so I'm here and willing.
Oh, great. So you see it from both sides.
Yeah.
Okay. You found using the system as a service user?
Yeah, good. I think I'm glad not to have paper notes to look after and remember. So it's really nice to just have it with me all the time. I can definitely understand people wanting more stuff published, because I just want to know everything, you know. So I think that's a really good development that we're publishing more. And yeah, I think it takes a little bit of a while getting used to navigating, but I'm sure as the midwives get used to it, we can show people. I've just joined community, so I'm getting better at showing people how it works from that patient side.
Yeah.
Overall, it's good. Yeah.
Lovely. Fantastic. Okay, so so the next question that I have is, what can a service user do if the app isn't working?
So what I was going to say is, I can't remember now. There was a thought that I was going to say about which is related to this, but what we need to differentiate is between the app and our documentation. I think I did see a feedback from your Feedback Friday about a person who was worried about a different hospital not being able to access her record because the app wasn't working. So I just wanted to make sure that that is clear, that the app is different from the actual maternity record. So even if the app doesn't work or the user can't log in, it doesn't mean that health professionals can't access their record, because that's all in a completely different system. However, I do appreciate that if the app doesn't work or a user can't log in, that can be frustrating. So there's a help section on the app and also on the website that gives you tips on how to try and log in. Most of the time, the most common issue, I would say, is logging in, and that can be for multiple reasons. One of the issues that we are seeing more and more often now is where pregnant people register with NHS login. So your NHS login is a little bit like your Facebook account that you can use to access different websites and in this case access Badger Notes. And then what happens is when you access it with NHS login, it doesn't actually create an account within Badger Notes. So you can't reset your password. If you forget the password, that needs to be reset within the NHS app itself. There is no direct contact with the developer. So we, UHSussex, are a customer who bought this product, and it's not something that we developed, and it's not something that we have control over. However, if there are issues, I would say the first point of contact should always be your midwife. So contact them, let them know what the issue is, whether that's logging in or accessing information or you know, navigating the app. If we can, Jordan, I think we can include a link to the LMNS website that also links to our app. So there are some, app points there. And if there is, if there are issues with the app or you have any feedback about the app, then the best place to provide that feedback is on the App Store, this place where you would download the app, where you can sometimes see stars and ratings and feedbacks, because System C, who is the developer of Badger Notes, actually are reviewing those reviews and questions regularly, and they respond to it as well. So any good or bad, negative, positive feedback should be going onto the App Store. But please don't include any personal information. Obviously, that should all be just an anonymous feedback or questions raised there.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, is bearing in mind that just like with any other app, in terms of development or feedback of any issues and suggestions for improvements can go through the App Store as per app. And just as well, so I will be sharing the link on our website to the Sussex LMNS site, which is where there is Badger Notes app information and a how-to video and things like that, and how to use it. But equally, if you do have any feedback about use of the system, then you can always also contact the Maternity Voices Partnership, so on our social media, or contact us by email to provide any just general service user experience feedback as well. So there's lots of ways that you can feedback. As Zita has explained, it's not necessarily something within their power to do anything to the app, but yeah, it's definitely worth hearing that feedback.
And we will always take it forward. So we have, regular discussions with the developer, and if there is feedback, if there is suggestion for improvements, we will 100% take it forward, because we want our patients to have the best experience as well.
Yeah, and actually, that along with the reassurance that Zita's given about the Badger Notes being a separate system, BadgerNet, being a separate system from Badger Notes, and that maternity records are always available regardless of if the app is not working. But in addition, we had a conversation, didn't we, about appointment letters and things will still be going out. Is that the case?
Absolutely. So we have had some feedback about appointments not always be accurate on Badger Notes, and the reason for that unfortunately ultrasound appointments are not communicating with BadgerNet, and therefore they're not communicating with Badger Notes. So although community midwife and antenatal clinic appointments will be correct on the app, the scan appointments will not be at present on the app. So we still ask all of our patients to rely on the letters that the hospitals are sending with the appointments. So that's that's unchanged. And with regards to scans, I just also wanted to mention that one of the questions that we often get asked is about scan documentation not being on the app. And again, unfortunately, that's not something that we can change. We requested that they be made available from the developer, and it's something that they're working on. But at the moment, when someone has a pregnancy scan, then they should have that printed by the sonographer and given on a piece of paper so that they can scan results.
Lovely. Okay, thank you so much, Zita. Do you have any questions, Julia, as a service user, or any comments as a service user or as a midwife at the trust?
I think it's really helpful for me when there's all these features, like you can start filling in your birth plan and you can ask questions to your midwife, and I think those features are really good, and I'm going to start mentioning them more in clinic appointments, because sometimes you have that question that's not urgent, you don't need to text it, but you want to remember to ask it at the next appointment, and I found it really handy when I can see them before the appointment to sort of prep the answer. So that's great, and it's just been really helpful working in triage as well, because when someone calls you can have a look through their notes so that when they arrive you already know their history. So I think there's loads of great kind of things about it. Really.
It's great having that real-time access to the records. And yes, like you said, the personalized care plan or the birth plans, they are really good as well. Where if you click on the diary, and there's a personalized diary that is always kept private, so no one will see that. But patients can start conversations and can start building birth plans on the app. it's just important as you start to remember that that's not being reviewed by the midwives. Unfortunately, it doesn't ping on the midwife's phone to let you know that there is something on the app, so it will only be seen at the next appointment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Great, wonderful. Well, it sounds like there is lots of ways that Badger Notes is being used, but also improvements to it and ways that it perhaps could be more than it currently is by service users. So as I said, I'll be sharing that video to show how to use Badger Notes, and please do explore the app and have a look around, because I've definitely learned a lot about how this system works differently. Don't have access to it myself, so I've never used it, but I do feel like that, yeah, it's been really useful to hear more about how it could be used better, and all the things you've answered there for us. So thank you so much. Anything else you'd like to add or comment on?
No, thanks for having me so last minute.
No, enjoying it. It's always
great having you here.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, I'll let you go and enjoy your evenings. Thank you for everyone that has watched. And as I said, I'll post a link on our website, and I'll be sharing this video for people to refer back to on our grid.
Okay. Thank you so much to both of you.
Bye.
Have a nice evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.